Welcome to our NAIOP January Southern Nevada breakfast program, our first program of the year. I'm Matthew Hoyt, and now that we turn the page into 2025, I have the privilege of serving as your chapter president this year. Good morning to everyone here at the Orleans and everyone attending by Zoom. For all of you that are here in the room today, you'll find notepads at your tables. Please write down any questions you have during the program. And Dan Tuntland from our programs committee will collect them for a Q&A session that will wrap up the program from 9 o'clock to 9:15. Today we have a very special guest in our attendance. I'd like to recognize our elected official in attendance today. Please stand and be recognized. Mayor Pro Tem Scott Black of North Las Vegas. We also want to recognize our UNLV students attending today. If you're a student, please stand and welcome to NAIOP. Everyone here, if you see a student with a green ribbon on their name tag, please welcome themselves. They are the future, or please welcome them. They are the future of our organization. I'd also, as the first meeting of the year, I'd like to welcome our 2025 Board of Directors. President-elect Steve Niger, CAST, Secretary Lisa Brady, Prologis, Treasurer Philip Dunning, Panettone Development Company, immediate past President Cassie Catania-Sue, CBRE, Sabrina Borghoff, Martin Harris Construction, James Bristow, Midnight Sun Consulting, Tim Costello with the Costello Group, Patty Dillon, Colliers, Mariana Honeycutt, Kimley Horn and Associates, Amanda McCauley, Schnitzer Properties, Dave Strickland, Thomas and Mack Company, Jamie Thalgett, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck, Dan Tuntland, DJT Real Estate Company, Tom Van Betten, and our chapter executive, Katrina Bruce. I'd also like to take a moment to honor our President's Circle sponsors. They are a critical component to the success of our chapter. This year we have 5 platinum sponsors. City of North Las Vegas, which is a new platinum sponsor this year. Cox Business, been supporting our chapter for 21 years. Gatsky Commercial since 2022. Martin Harris Construction since 2001, and Schnitzer Properties since 2000. We also want to thank our 8 gold sponsors: Burke Construction Group, EBS Realty Partners, Heller Companies LLC, Howard Hughes, Kimley Horn and Associates, Majestic Realty Company, Prologis, and Southern Nevada Water Authority. Now please look at the screen as we recognize our silver sponsors, our bronze sponsors, and our copper level President's Circle sponsors. I'm happy to report from our President's Circle sponsors has reached an all-time high in 2025. With exposure to nearly 800 members, there's never been a better time to be a President's Circle sponsor. Our events are garnering record attendance, including today, which I'm happy to report is our most well-attended breakfast program ever. We have nearly 400 of us in the room today. If you're interested in becoming a 2025 President's Circle sponsor, please stop at the registration table for a package. You can talk to me, Lisa Brady, with Prologis, Katrina or Jonna. And now our committees. Let's take a moment to hear our committee updates. We'll start with bus tour.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tice with CBRE. Our 2025 bus tour will be on Thursday, November 14th at the Orleans here. Our committee is going to start planning next month in February. If you're interested in joining the committee, please reach out to myself or Morgan Ellison with Colliers. Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Carrie Laurent with LaPour. I'm here representing the DOLLY Committee, which is the Developing Organizational Leadership Institute. We have applications open right now for the DOLLY 2025 class. Those applications are due by, I think, February 24th. The program fee is $500, and that program meets 8 times between March and May. There's no age limit for this, so it's open to everybody. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Katrina, Jonna. You'll be seeing some emails coming through with the application information in the next few weeks. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Jen Levine, industrial broker with Realcomm Advisors and graduate of the first and best DLI class of 2009. You know I had to do it. I've said this stuff to you guys before, but I'm going to say it again. The DLI program is created to give the next wave of leadership in our organization, and out of that program, we have had about 13 or more board members. We've had 6 chapter presidents, including our current chapter president. 3 of those have won national awards for our leadership. We have had 2 corporate board members, 6 National Developing Leaders Award members, 2 National Volunteer Award members, and 56 Spotlight Award members. This program works, and right now we are in the middle of our current class. We need 1 more sponsorship for $12.50, and you can come and speak to the class and participate in graduation. The class of 2009 pooled our resources and sponsored a class, so where are my other alum? And we have unlimited $500 sponsorships, but we need just a little bit more to make this program work, so please give. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Guy Gugino with MidFirst Bank. I'm here for the golf committee. Our 33rd annual golf tournament is Friday, May 16th at Paiute Golf Course. We have limited sponsorships left. These sponsorships will allow you to also buy a golf foursome, which is very limited. And I know you're all asking and thinking, when can we as general members, not sponsors, buy a foursome? We'll have an email coming out in a couple weeks. I don't know when that date is. I don't want to know when that date is. So watch your emails. We do have limited foursomes available just to buy as foursomes. There's only 1 foursome allowed per company. We are accepting and need raffle prizes. We have an Amazon gift list, or we would love our prizes to be from any of your customers or you, a value of more than $100. We want everyone to walk away who buys tickets with a raffle prize. And you're in the next month going to get 3 emails from us. 1 email is going to be asking for sponsorships again, raffle prizes and volunteers. You'll get an email in a couple weeks that'll be for golf, for just generic golf. If you want to buy golf, it'll be very limited. I've been telling people it'll be like trying to get Doobie Brothers concerts in 1978. It's going to go really, really fast. And then we are looking for raffle prizes. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Gaetana Cafasa with Burke Construction here on behalf of the NAIOP Spotlight Awards. We are a little bit over a month away. It is Saturday, March 1st at Red Rock Casino. This year's theme is NAIOP Nights, so think tropical flair meets the desert air. We do have a few deadlines coming up. So we have the room block, which is today. Our sponsorship deadline is February 7th. And the registration deadline is February 14th. So we'll be sending out the Merit Award winners here this week as well. So keep an eye out for your emails. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Micah Durham with Nevada General Construction. I am also your membership chair. Our social committee chairs couldn't be here today, so I get to come back up and say hi to everybody, which is always a blast. So first off, I want to thank all of our members here. Again, it's a huge turnout today. We finished the year, we've been in the top 10 on chapter size for a handful of years. We finished the year in 8th. We started the year in 9th. That's because of a handful of drops. So any non-members here, please join the organization. We want to stay in the top 10. Pound for pound, I think we're the best chapter in the nation because the size of our market to the size of our membership is just wildly impressive. With that, our first members-only mixer of the year is February 13th at Craggy Range over at the Lee's Family Forum now. It's a members-only event. If your membership is not fully renewed, you are not able to attend, so please make sure your membership is up to date. There are sponsorships still left. You have to be a member company to sponsor that event. If you have any questions, please let us know. If you want to join, please reach out to myself, Jonna, Katrina, Matt, anybody else. Get in the mix. Come to the events. And I will turn it back over to Mr. Hole-in-One, Matt Hoyt.
Thank you, Micah. He was witness to my hole-in-one last week, which complete luck, by the way. I'd like to kick the year off by recognizing our committees. They do a ton of work to keep this organization moving forward. If you are a committee chair, vice chair, or just on a committee in general, will you please stand and be recognized? You guys are absolutely amazing. We have 12 committees in total. We had 257 committee members this year. Last year, we had over 146 committee meetings. So thanks to every one of you for your dedication and support for our chapter. It's a great time to join a committee. If you'd like to join, you're a member, please reach out to Katrina, Jonna, or myself. Or you can stop by the registration table for a list of committees and sign up there. New member recognition. Each month we like to recognize our new members. If you're a new member, please stand. Welcome to NAIOP. If you all see a red ribbon on the name tags, please be sure to welcome our new members. NAIOP Southern Nevada currently has 754 members and ranks in the top 10 for NAIOP chapters nationally, as Micah had mentioned. If you're not a member, you need to be. Though we're top 10 in quality, I absolutely believe we're number one. Quantity, we're number one in quality. For those of you that were in attendance at the holiday luncheon, I firmly believe that we are the best chapter. This is your invitation to join us. There are a few ways. You can stop at the registration table. You can visit our website and join online. You can call the NAIOP office, or you can talk to Micah Durham. Micah, if you could please stand. Micah's getting his leg workout in today, all the up and down. We'd like to thank our 2025 meeting sponsors, American Nevada Realty, Carpenter Sellers Delgado Architects, City of North Las Vegas, Cox Business, Martin Harris Construction, Nevada Energy, Panettone Development, Schnitzer Properties, Southern Nevada Water Authority, the Whiting Turner Company, and our Wi-Fi sponsor, Gatsky Commercial. And today's sponsor, a special thank you to today's meeting sponsor, Martin Harris Construction, who is also one of our platinum sponsors. I'd like to introduce their president, Guy Martin. Welcome to the stage, Guy.
Good morning. Again, thank you so much for our relationship with NAIOP. It's amazing to walk in this room. I've been doing this for quite some time now, and I think the two coolest questions that I get is, when's your office going to be done? Our office renovation will be done in May. And the second question is, how is your dad? Thank you for everybody that asked me. He's doing amazing. He's got a full-time job chasing my mom around while she chases horses and takes care of her ranch and is hustling. His knee is getting better by the day. We had dinner last night. And I just want to say how much it warms my heart and just thank you for holding up his legacy and continuing on. Lord knows I could never fill those boots, but me and our team at Martin Harris Construction, our more than 300 associates, we work very hard every day to keep that legacy and keep that mission alive. And to come in this room and have my friends, my peers, and our clients ask me time and time again how Frank's doing, just tells me that we're doing it right, and he did it really, really well. So thank you very much to NAIOP. Thank you very much to everyone. And here's to a great 2025, huh? Thank you.
Thanks, Guy. Thanks to Martin Harris Construction for sponsoring today's program. We have not yet mentioned our amazing programs committee. This committee's been knocking it out of the park with the best programs in the business. You can tell by how many people are in the room today. That's a great segue into today's panel and program. A quick reminder, Q&A from 9 o'clock to 9:15. You have notepads and pens at your table. Please write down notes. Dan Tuntlin will come by and scoop those up for our Q&A session at the end of the program. I'm excited to kick off the program today, a Developers Roundtable, a 2025 kickoff. I have the pleasure of introducing you today to today's moderator, Megan McInerney. Megan is an Associate Vice President of Office Division at Colliers, specializing in leasing, sales, and tenant representation of commercial office space since 2019. She's a Henderson native, a passionate community advocate. She's our Community Service Committee Chair and also a former DLI graduate, DLI Works. Her brokerage team won the NAIOP Spotlight Awards Office Broker of the Year for 9 consecutive years. She is absolutely a rising star in our industry, and today she brings her expertise to moderate an engaging discussion with our leading developers. Welcome to the stage, Megan.
Can you guys hear me? Is this thing on? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Thank you, Matt, for that introduction. You've been a great friend ever since I joined the industry, so I'm thankful and I'm excited to see what you do with the chapter this year.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And wow, what an amazing room we have today. It's so great to see a lot of you. Many of you I know. Many of you have shaped my career thus far, and what an amazing large room. So I'm super excited to be here. It's crazy to think that just 5 years ago, I walked into my very first NAIOP breakfast, and now I'm here leading a panel discussion. So it just goes to show the power of NAIOP. And if you're not involved, I urge you to get involved because it's been instrumental in my career. So now to the developers. I know all 393 of you are wondering what's going to shake out this year in terms of development. And while my crystal ball might not be working, I'm confident that our panelists are. So I'd like to introduce our panelists up to the stage. I'll have you all come up and I'll read your introductions as you walk up. So first off, we have Jeff LaPour. Mr. LaPour is no stranger to the NAIOP stage. He is founder and president of LaPour Partners, a commercial real estate and hospitality development firm active in the Western U.S. Over the past 25 years, he has led development ventures as a principal on over 7 million square feet of office, industrial, and hospitality space in Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado markets. LaPour began his career at Hilton Hotels, followed by a tenure in commercial brokerage. Before launching the development firm, Mr. LaPour studied liberal arts at the University of Nebraska, served on the board of directors of NAIOP Southern Nevada, and is a member of the Urban Land Institute. So welcome, Jeff. Thank you for being here. And next up, we have Jess Molasky. Mr. Molasky is principal and chief operating officer at Ovation Development, Southern Nevada's leading developer of market rate and affordable multifamily housing. Founded by his father, Alan, in 1984, Ovation has delivered 38 multifamily communities valued at over $1 billion and encompassing 10,000 units, including 13 affordable housing projects totaling 1,900 units, with more in progress. After graduating from UCLA in 2016, Jess worked on LEED certified facilities for UCLA, including facilities for the 2028 Olympics. Jess returned to Las Vegas and joined Ovation in 2018, focusing primarily on Ovation's affordable senior product and advancing the company's legacy with modern systems and sustainable practices. Jess follows in the footsteps of his father and grandfather, making his individual mark on the family legacy and shaping the city's development. So welcome, Jess. Thanks for being here. And rounding out our panel, we have Stan Wasserkrug. Mr. Wasserkrug has been a prominent commercial real estate developer since 1986. He created several companies in the past 35 years, developing over 4.5 million square feet of retail from ground up to eventual sale. These areas of development include projects in Las Vegas, Dallas, and the Phoenix Valley. He has created several businesses and has been the owner in a variety of gaming properties, including 7 Mulligans and Goldfinger's Gaming Taverns, 2 Elko-based casinos, the Red Lion, Gold Country, along with the Hilton Garden Inn in Houston, Texas, and 4 mini storage facilities in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Most recently, Stan has decided to continue his development expertise in the retail development industry with the expansion of InterCapital Asset Management, a company that he created in 1993. He's excited to take on new development opportunities and create the best value possible for his career-long investors. So, thank you, Stan, for being here. As you can see, we have a very stacked panel today, so I know I'm very excited to hear their insights and share what's going on in the market. And all of their firms have made significant impacts in the development that shaped Southern Nevada. So thank you again. As we reflect on 2024 and look ahead into 2025, 2024 brought a lot of unique dynamics across the development sectors, and there were many challenges that a lot of developers faced. These challenges included labor and materials, cost of capital, tenant demand, and other hot topics that really had developers questioning whether it was the right time to move forward with their projects or not. However, closing out 2024 from a market fundamentals perspective, industrial demands remained really strong despite the increase in product that we saw hit the market last year. Class A office developments are being leased up at premium lease rates, and retail development activity remains consistent in multiple sectors, and tenant demand is strong. So with that in mind, I'd like to go down the line and have each of you share what you focused on in 2024, and then provide an overview of your 2025 pipeline just to give a foundation for today's discussion. So Jeff, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Megan. Can you hear me? How about now?
Yep.
Perfect. 2024 was kind of a transitional year for us. We had sold a lot of our land inventory when the market got super heated in 21 and 22. So it left a little bit of a gap, but we did break ground we broke ground on one project. We had another one under construction. Both are in the Denver market. Both are industrial. We've spent the rest of the time entitling some other sites that we have. We have 2 industrial deals here in Las Vegas. We have 2 hotel deals in Phoenix, and we have 3 industrial deals in Denver. So 24 was a year of construction and entitling for us.
So we built a new office space for our corporate team. We have about 350 employees, about 100 in the office. We worked on a new rebrand and building a new website, kind of trying to take Ovation into Ovation 2.0. You know, Rainier and my dad would say Ovation 4.0. They've had a couple more iterations than I have. But it's been a really big lift. We've had a lot of good hires. We've brought in a lot of professionalism. We also finished about 1,000 market rate apartments. We opened about 1,000 market rate units early 2024. And so we were in lease up all of 2024 for those. Those were all Class A, really nice. You know, I felt like me and my sister brought Ovation again, kind of into that new generation. And so we were targeting rents a little bit less than like the very top of the market, but definitely $300, $400 more than a traditional Aspire product. And as of today, on 2 of them, we're at 92% leased within 12 months. One of them's at 81% leased within 12 months. And so we're feeling really good about that absorption, the fact that we were able to build product that is above what we were charging before, but is affordable to the worker in Las Vegas, you know? So that 1,000-unit lease-up was a big focus. We also broke ground on 1,000 affordable units this year. We shifted a lot of our pipeline from market rate to affordable. The market economics just don't make sense in 2024 for us. We're half the equity, at least, of every deal, sometimes all the equity. And so we're really real with our numbers. We're not going to trick ourselves. So when we were looking at doing a market rate deal in 24, it just did not pencil. Even though we had bought land in 22 and 23 through exchange, it just made it really hard. So we were lucky that my dad had the foresight to diversify and go into the affordable business around 2008. And so it's been really good for our company because, like I said, I just built this beautiful office. We have a new rebrand. We hired all this staff. It would have been a real shame to have to kind of put the brakes on all that. So I'm really happy we've been able to deliver or are building 1,000 affordable units that will deliver towards the end of this year, early next year. 2025 will be interesting. We're ready to build market rate again. We think the market economics should be there by the time that we're entitled and ready to build. So I think we're going to go out to market and start, talking to people to raise some equity. We have 2 really great affordable projects that we're going to start in 2025, and we're going to try to add 1 more, slide it up a little bit. It's going to be tricky, but that will then give us another 4 projects under construction. That's kind of our sweet spot in order to keep our team and not have to downsize. And so we've got a busy couple years ahead of us for sure, thankfully. Yeah.
Thanks, Jess.
No,
stand.
Hopefully this works.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Our focus in 2024 to 2025, and actually everything prior to that, really hasn't changed a whole lot. We did diversify a little bit, but our retail industry in Las Vegas is still, it was thriving all the way through COVID and last year and the year before, and we have a lot of positive aspects of what we expect in 2025, 26, 27. We did simplify our lives a little bit. Right now we have only 7 projects going on in Las Vegas, 2 in the Phoenix area. And what I found over the last 5 years is that even though our material costs have gone up dramatically, they're dropping just a little bit. Interest rates are high, but the way we do our performance is under worst possible scenario, which is going on right now, but it still works. And so, we just finished up a project at Grand Teton in Decatur, which was 5 acres. We have McDonald's and we have AutoZone, 7-Eleven, all key tenants, Taco Bell. And those are the type of projects we're trying to focus on. I have the pleasure about 4 years ago of recreating our company with my 2 sons who now tell me what to do. And so, it makes my life easy. And, but I'm really positive about what's coming up in the future because I don't see any negativity. The, city of North Las Vegas, if there's anybody here from the city of North Las Vegas, you want to raise your hand? No? Okay. They have been absolutely wonderful with us. We just got a project on that was a little bit larger than what we typically like to do. It's an 11-acre project, and it is going to be retail in front and Compass Health Hospital in the middle with a mini storage on the back side of it. And so that's Tropical and Pecos. We're very fortunate that they approved that project for us, and they're working with us very carefully. And they're being selective on what they want to see in their township. Clark County's doing the same thing. They're kind of dictating to us what they want to see, which is helpful, a little bit troublesome at times, but the lenders are there, our equity is there, and we're very positive for at least the next 4 years as to what we are seeing in the marketplace.
So even with all the increases, your retail deals are still penciling?
I'm not having any pushback with any of the tenants that we're dealing with. We're getting top rents. We have Jennifer Ott doing our leasing in all of our locations, most of our locations. She's doing a wonderful job. And the sales, we have Marcus and Millichap doing the sales for us. We're turning down deals and just waiting for the best ones possible. But we're getting enormous rents. I'm doing a project in front of the Boulevard Mall. We're doing 12,000 square feet and 2 pads. We're getting $3.50 rents over there, which is exactly where I need to be. But for the most part, I get higher rents in other locations, and no pushback.
4 plus?
4 plus on end caps with
Yeah.
drive-throughs. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Now,
So
sustainability.
Yeah.
Who
knows how long?
We're still merchant developers.
Okay, so you'll build it, you'll stabilize it, you'll sell it. So
Exactly
if they don't
right.
renew their lease,
I'm a little more flexible being a merchant developer. We're also diving a little bit into the mini storage business. We have 1 in Phoenix, 1 here. We're actually working on 2 more. And that market, it's pretty plain and simple. Either there's 1 needed in the area or there's not. And it's pretty easy to determine that.
it's either full or it's not.
Right. If our competition's full, we're good to go. But it's interesting, in North Las Vegas, and you guys probably know this, the mini storage that we just had approved on December 18th might be the last one that's going to be approved in North Las Vegas for quite a while. Yeah. Unless it's just a brand new area without any houses around it. There's, in their view, too many of them, and since I'm only doing 1 up there, that's fine with me. So, but same thing. You know, we do a lot of car wash deals, the tunnel car washes. That is a negative in North Las Vegas as well as Clark County. They don't want to really see any more of them. They think there's enough of them. You know, I'm going to argue the point in some cases, but, you know, the selectiveness of the towns, the cities, the counties that we're dealing with, we speak with them first to see, is this project going to be okay? You know, we don't want to close on a piece of property unless everybody's okay with it. You know, beforehand, you didn't have to worry about whether or not, you know, a city was concerned whether or not you put in a AutoZone or whatever the case might be. Big O Tires, another deal we're working with. We're working with all national tenants. Ground leases are great. And the cooperation with Clark County, North Las Vegas, the city, it has been really great. We're we're happy. That makes our lives easier. We did make one more change. Since, you know, I outsource everything. I don't want a bunch of employees anymore. And so we developed a design-build relationship with our contractor, NDL. And now what they do for us is they take the responsibility of the civil engineer, the structural engineer, the architect, you know, everybody. It's their responsibility. They take that weight off my shoulders. And that way, it just makes my life a whole lot easier.
That sounds really nice.
It is. It is.
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the opposite of how we do it.
is that exactly what you do? Or you don't?
Yeah, yeah, we do that. Ever since the 1.0, like from like the late 90s, early 2000s up to the downturn, we did it the old, what I call the old way. And since then, we do it the new way. And so we started, I think, doing that maybe the first thing we built out of the gate, which was, I think, 2013 or 14. Anyway, it's the only way we would ever do it.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's
so many people.
I'm learning something.
But so many people want to just grind on the fee and the fact that the contractor's getting a fee on top of a fee. It's contractors, plug your ears. It's inconsequential, right?
Yeah, it is. Just don't tell them that.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And thank you for the fresh perspective, Stan. It sounds like a lot of good stuff headed into 2025. So you kind of touched on this, but I'd like to hear Jeff and Jess. There still are some surrounding issues that we faced in 2024, like high land prices, land constraints, elevated construction costs. But with the election cycle behind us, it seems like the market sentiment is growing increasingly bullish. So I'm just curious, as we head into 2025, are you anticipating growth for your respective product types, stability? Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
I think it depends on product type and location. I think this is a game of confidence, right? The entire market is the game of confidence, because you could say the income on a building is, on Monday, $1 million a year NOI, right? At a 5 cap. On Tuesday, it's a 7 cap. The income hasn't changed, but the values dropped dramatically, right? So I think confidence is up. I think from the people I see and hear and talk to, there's like relief and there's optimism, I think, for 25. Yeah, there's challenges for sure. I think it will be a game of like maybe stabilization. There's just giant pipelines of industrial. And I mean giant pipelines of industrial space. Like Las Vegas has done a good job, I think, of turning it off. I think there's 4 million square feet or something under construction. At the end of the year, Phoenix has 11 million square feet under construction, but it's a bigger market, a lot more absorption. So I think you're going to see the absorption story play out a little bit. I did notice on some of the marketing materials, there's broker bonuses now being offered on some industrial space, which first time probably in 5, maybe longer. But I think it's going to stabilize this year, and I think you probably won't see a lot of new starts. I think you'd have to have a super compelling reason to start a new industrial deal today, my opinion, in any market. Some markets is a red line for right now. But it depends on product type, it depends on sub-market too. So I think you'll see some probably rents falling a little bit, you'll see concessions up, but I think that you're going to see overall stabilization for the industrial market for this year. The office market Who knows? Here's the funny.
Good enough answer.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
Here's the funny part about it's not funny. Here's the funny part about the office market. Tenant demand is there, right? That used to be all it took. Like if you have a tenant stand, you're going to build a building, right?
In theory.
Yeah. Can't do that with an office building. And even the buildings that have been built, I've never seen this level of absorption in my lifetime, and not 24, that was a tough year, but leading up to 24, I've never seen new buildings absorb that, the number of new buildings, the size of the tenants, the credit worthiness of the tenants, the length of the lease term, the rents that they're paying, the small TIs that they were accepting, occurred all through the Beltway from, 22-ish,
Yeah.
23-ish, 21, 22, 23. However, there's no market for, we're in the middle of a refi on Narrative. It's 95% leased, great credit, excellent tenancy. It's a difficult process because nobody knows what to value the building at. You don't know what the cap rate is. And if someone's going to guess the cap rate, they're going to guess high, right? Makes a big difference. So I don't think office is going to get built in Las Vegas for a long time. Now, maybe Howard Hughes may build something, or a public company may build something, but they still have the same cap rate issue and appraisal issue and value issue that everybody has, right? So I think office for the time being is definitely on hold. And I'm an optimist, and I never say never, but it's going to be a while. And there's going to have to be some trades that are not distressed in order to prove the market back up, in spite of good demand. So I don't think office is much is going to happen there. There's some owner-user activity, I think, which is strong. Good part of this market. We're looking at a deal for that right now.
Right, like when we bought the old Wyndham call center,
Yeah.
and we put a bunch of money into it. It looks really pretty on the inside. You need to paint the outside still,
Yeah.
but like that activity is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been office trades around the country where big tenants in these towers have been tenants for 20 years, turn around and buy it for $40 a foot, right? Because nobody else wanted it. Denver has it, Phoenix has it. Las Vegas doesn't have the stock to trade like that. But the hotel business is good. Travel's back. There's good opportunities. There hasn't been a ton of supply added. There's still good yields. Works with interest rates today. So I think you'll see a mixed bag.
Yeah. And I think the office story is a challenging one to tell because we are a bit of an anomaly here. We are performing very well, but it's a challenging story to tell when that's not necessarily the case other places.
I was in LA for 2 days. I told a group that we have $44 rents. They didn't believe me.
Yeah.
They're like, why? And I said, I don't know. We do.
People are coming to Vegas.
I think
Yeah.
people realize Las Vegas is like a land of opportunity, whether it's the taxes or just the ability to like actually have an impact on a city or like make your mark or have an opportunity. Like, I think people are realizing that, and that this is a good place not only to live but to do business, and so that ties into multifamily.
Yeah.
Our multifamily portfolio is doing great. You know, our rents have softened barely. When we forecasted our budget for this next year, I told my team to keep it somewhat flat for the first 2 quarters and then see if there's any growth, slight growth, maybe 1%, 2% growth in the second 2 quarters. I'm trying to be an optimist as well. I think that we have a historic undersupply of housing across the entire United States. And I think, I guess if we're going to talk a little bit political, we need a historic investment in housing that hasn't happened since the 70s or 80s. And there was a big investment in the 80s in housing that really moved the needle. And, you know, I do worry that tariffs would make building housing extremely difficult. I do worry that, you know, without workers, I think that building housing would be very difficult. And so how do we square all of these objectives at the same time? I'm also optimistic that 25 is going to be a hopefully great year. I have some concerns. I think that, you know, we are not planning to break ground on a market rate in 25. We're going to break ground on a market rate in 26. We're going to tee everything up for it. We're going to continue to build our affordable pipeline in 25, continue to build the processes in our company. It sounds like, 4 years ago, your sons and you went through a similar process where you kind of like redefined what your company means.
Yeah, it was, 4 years ago, things were obviously much different. When COVID hit, it was a matter, we showed up for work. We were essential workers. That's how they classified us.
Yeah.
So, but I found that the tenants that wanted, and right now we're dealing with probably 80% national tenants. I mean, the mom and pops disappeared during COVID. So, which is kind of a shame. I think they'll come back, but as a developer, dealing with national tenants is a little bit more difficult, but, obviously it's worth a lot more, on the bottom line. We are extremely optimistic in 2025. I mean, we're targeting several properties. We have relationships and going to continue these relationships with not only the national tenants that kind of tell us where they need to be, but also we have relationships with D.R. Horton, with KB Homes, and a few other nationals where they call us to say, hey, we're building 35, 40, 50, 1,000 acres, whatever. Do you want the corner? And so we have I don't want to tell you all my secrets, but we paid at Grand Teton in Decatur, and then one other location that we're doing, Tropical in Losee in North Las Vegas, $40 a square foot for the land. And when I tell people that, they roll their eyes and they think I'm a complete idiot, and perhaps I am, but they deliver in all cases. When I'm dealing with home builders, they deliver all of my offsites, curbs, gutters, street lights, a rough grade to my specifications, utilities stubbed, essentially $20 worth of work.
So your $40 land price is really $20 land price
Exactly.
with all the utilities in, because
Yeah, exactly. They do all the heavy lifting, and on top of that, I think my escrow time period in dealing with home builders, by the time they do all their infrastructure and do the work that they're supposed to do for me, and then I close, I've got a 1.5 year escrow, or longer, sometimes 2.5 years. Well, that saves me obviously on a lot of interest, so when we close, we're ready to get going. So we can afford if we're using hard money, 12 and 2, if we're only using it for 9 months, 10 months, it works. If we're stuck in 3 years, not saying that hasn't happened, do we make money? About that much. But, it's a fine line between success and not such a great project. The timing right now is more crucial than it ever has been because of the cost of materials, the timing of getting things built, and that's why I turned everything over to my contractor, because we probably lost a year's worth of time by not doing it that way, and Jeff can attest to the fact that it works. And they don't charge any more than they normally do, which is really high. But it does make my life easier, and that way I can point fingers at them and say, you're not doing this quick enough. And that's our plan for the next 4 years. I'm targeting probably 7 more properties that we're looking at this year in buying, and I hope to keep about the same pace, for the next 4 or 5 years, depending on what happens. But I'm very optimistic.
Well, thank you, Stan. So given all of this economic growth that you guys are talking about and expansion, how are you preparing for policy uncertainties with the current political landscape, like issues with tariffs? You touched on this, Jess, but immigration challenges, federal budget deficits, that's a mouthful. Anyone can jump in here on that one.
I don't know if there is that much uncertainty after the last week. I mean, it's.
I don't know about that,
Good point.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
I think I think that there's a great perception that all these tools will be used at the maximum amount and it's going to have a negative impact. I don't believe that. I think you can see that no matter what your party affiliation is, that our current government is a tough negotiator, and It does hurt people. They don't want to hear it, but it works. In some cases, it does work. I'm hopeful, like on the tariff side, I think you see Colombia, you'll see a lot of things come into line. I don't think it's going to be doomsday worst case scenario by any stretch. I'm hopeful that on the immigration piece, that once the felons and the people that really are a detriment to being here are at least addressed in some way, that we're going to get an immigration policy that lets people that want to work come here and live and work, because we need it. You got to have it. It's like you need it for hotels, you need it for construction, you need it for restaurants. It's a big workforce. So I'm hopeful that, once this initial surge is out of the way, somebody comes up with something that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's been any indication that's going to happen. That's a nice hope, but
But it's an economic-based model too, so maybe that'll appeal to the. Who knows?
yeah, I think you said it, I've said it. I think the average tariff rate right now is 3% or something. If that goes to 8%, it doesn't need to go to 25. If that goes to 8%, my deals that are already hard to make pencil worse. If my labor force, if 10% of them are no longer there, and then I need to pay 10% more in labor, all my deals that don't pencil still pencil worse. So there are some concerns for me when it comes to multifamily specifically, and I think that we're really good because we are vertically integrated at cutting our costs. We're not paying fees to other people. We take our fees and put it back in the deal. And so if we can't make it work, I'm worried about a global or at least a national inability to make housing work. And building houses is great, but you have to make 140% AMI to really afford a house. That's probably more, and the big takeaway that I've had is I've looked at the demographics of Las Vegas, as I've looked at the demographics of who lives with us and like what our rents are. It's a big takeaway. I mean, market rate apartments are workforce housing. And everybody in America is like, well, we need workforce housing. Rents are too high. Like, we can't afford where to live. Well, market rate apartments are that solution. And it's really comes down to a lot of Class A, and not the A++, but the Class A, some Class B. But that serves the 80 to 120% AMI people, and that is workforce housing. I mean, you guys know AMI, right? I'm not talking crazy things. And so I don't think that narrative has been explained well enough that, the average worker just can't afford to go buy a house and spend $3,500 on their mortgage. They can afford $2,000 for a 2-bedroom, but there's not enough of nice 2 bedrooms for them to rent. There might be some Class C that they can go rent, but they make too much money to go rent that. There might be some LIHTC apartments, but they make too much money to qualify for that. And so it is this kind of serious problem that I'm starting to see within the housing industry as a whole.
Is it new? Is that a new problem?
I'll answer that.
I'm relatively new, so I don't know.
So I started my career in the 70s in Dallas, and as a joke, I was really young, and as a joke, I sold homes for a company that was taken over by Centex, and as a joke, we used to go on the job sites, dressed in suits, carrying a briefcase, and watch all the immigrants scatter.
Yeah.
And so what I do know, and anybody here can correct me if I'm wrong, bad joke, right?
It was a different era.
It used to piss off the superintendents and all that, but the policies of today allow immigrants to come into the United States, and people don't really realize this. And a lot of the people you see working in the fields, doing the jobs that nobody wants to do on the job sites, building homes, that type of thing, they have a special permit that allows them, once they're in the States, whether it be illegally or they came across the right way, and either way, when they apply, they can get special permits to stay here for a year at a time and then start going through the process. They're here, and those aren't the ones that Tom Homan's going after. He's going after the criminals. So I really don't think that the home building industry, the farming industry is going to be affected by today's policies, because a lot of them have these permits to stay here. And a lot of people don't realize it. They figure, okay, they're going to make a clean sweep, get all these people on a plane and send them back to Ecuador. It's just not the case. And so regarding the tariffs, and I'll make a comment about that, President Trump is a great negotiator. And the tariffs, just like you see in Colombia, and you're going to start seeing it all over the world, wherever he's imposing tariffs, they're going to work it out. You're probably not going to see a whole lot of tariffs paid by any country because they can't afford to pay the tariffs and ship their products here. What he's trying to do is get them, obviously, and they're doing it, is to set up factories over here. That's the right thing to do. But even so, they're going to work something out. They're going to commit. Look what the Saudis did. What's their, $1 trillion? We're going to invest $1 trillion in the United States. You know, it's what he's trying to do is happening, and I don't think the tariffs are going to get in the way of anything. I think 6 months from now, you probably won't hear a whole lot about it because it's going to disappear. He'll work out his deals. You know, he works in shock and awe. And you're going to see all these countries, I don't want to say bow down to him, but cut deals so they don't have to worry about importing products. They'll set up factories here. It's going to be good for us, including the oil industry, which has nothing to do with tariffs. But, you know, the immigration thing's going to work out. The tariff thing is going to work out. I'm pretty positive. If you really read what's going on behind what Trump is trying to do, it's extremely smart. And, you know, he's treating the country right now as a business, which probably should have been done a long time ago. And it's the only way we're going to get out of the mess we're in right now is to, I'll quit talking politics, but.
That's okay, Stan.
Oh, no, I mean, I think,
Go ahead.
I think that the HUD secretary too, like the new HUD secretary, seemed to be very focused on this issue I'm talking about supply. You know, and that's really something that's been missing. We can't subsidize our way out of this issue. We have to make the market economics work.
Yeah,
Yours are working for you. Yours seem to be working for you. For housing, they're not working right now. Like, we need the federal government then to figure out a way to make the market economics work without just pouring soft dollars into it.
So are you talking about materials for your housing, or are you talking about labor?
I don't have the solution, but right
No,
now.
I mean, what's your
Yeah.
biggest problem? Is it labor or is it material cost?
I think it's just when we look at our total development cost, when we look at interest rates, and we look at our cash-on-cash return, we're spending more on our interest rates than our cash-on-cash return as of today.
So are we. But, you know, with you, it's different
Yeah.
because, you know, your development time periods run years.
Yeah.
Mine they run a year.
Yeah.
You know, I think the material cost problem was developed years ago, and I'll contribute a lot of it to COVID because the lumber industry was shut down.
That was crazy.
Yeah, shut down.
We bought
completely.
lumber right at the peak, and then the next week
Yeah.
it dropped.
I think everybody did.
Everybody did. Everybody bought it right then, and then they were like, okay, we're good. We're out of lumber.
But I think, you know, with the positivity going on with the U.S. government and what we see in the next 4 years, I'm hoping things stabilize. I was shocked yesterday that the Fed didn't lower the rate at all. But then they said, well, the market is really heading in a positive direction. That's why we didn't lower the rate. Okay, well.
And they've lowered rates, and it hasn't lowered long-term rates.
No, not at all.
So it's
at
not
all,
helping
but-
my deals pencil. So like, if there's other economic things that we need to do, then that's just one lever, and that lever is not really working.
Well, you got to remember, very important fact.
Yeah.
This administration's only been in place for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's fresh.
It's fresh, and it's going to take them a year, 2 years, who knows, for them to unwind what the previous administration created. And so, you know,
I think
it
it's
doesn't
even-
happen overnight.
I think it's even deeper than that. Economics don't happen within year cycles. You know, economics happen within 6 to 10 year cycles. So like, whatever actions they're going to take now, overlay whatever actions happened the last 4 years, and then we'll layer into the next. It's a bit more nuanced, you know.
Yeah, I
But
agree
these aren't new
100%.
problems. I mean, this industry's had this since I can remember. I mean, 30 years ago there was a housing shortage. You know what I mean? It's like, it's always the same discussion. It's always the same. I mean, you could go to guys in 2021, which was the zenith of any market that I've seen in my lifetime. and people would be saying, oh, I can't get this to pencil, man, things are too expensive. Yeah, the rents, it's just, it's always that way. There's always a problem somewhere. Always. Yeah.
All right, thank you guys for all of that. So I do need to hand this over to Dan here pretty soon for some Q&A. And there's a lot we didn't get through that I would have liked to, but let's share. There's lots of optimism up here with some other concerns, but what keeps you all up at night? And then let's whip out that crystal ball and see what's going to happen in 2025.
Well, Stan and I were just talking about what keeps us up at night, and after 2009, like nothing. Really.
You slept great. There you go.
I think 25 is going to be a time to really be aware and keep your eyes open for good opportunities, because I think there's a mixed bag of opportunity depending on what you're focusing on. There's still office to be purged, I think, but there's, on the contrary to that, is there's great office space that's premiums that are trading in other markets that have waiting list of tenants. So there's going to be some stabilization, I think, on industrial when some of the supply is going to burn off. There's still a few pockets of industrial you can build in markets where maybe the vacancies it's still at sub 5 and there's not a big pipeline because there's big issues with entitlement. Yeah. Hotels, same thing. I think certainly we just focus on walkable mixed use on hotels, so it really is a small pie, but there's good opportunities there, depending on, where you're at geographically. But I think for us, 25, we'll start construction on at least one hotel. We'll start construction on 1 or 2 industrial projects. Our feeling is if you can make it work today in terms of yield on cost, which we were just talked about a minute ago, we think that eventually in the next... It should get better. It should get better. It should trend the right way. But yield requirements for lenders and equity investors today are high, and it makes deals hard to pencil. You're in the 7s at least, a minimum, maybe mid 7s before you can get any attention for a equity partner.
And Jeff, quick side question for you. Since you do work in multiple markets and you're developing industrial out here, some stuff in Denver, what would you say is the biggest driving factor for tenants choosing Las Vegas as a place to do business?
Las Vegas has a lot of great attributes, I think. Number one, which is big in a lot of the southern markets, is the weather's great, sunny. People are drawn to sun. Look at migration over 50 years. People go where it's sunny. 2 is it's a small town still. It's easy to navigate. People complain. I complain about traffic, but we really don't have traffic. In-town airport, easy to get places. Entertainment is great. Sports teams, restaurants, shows, never at a loss for anything to do entertainment-wise. Tax is favorable here as well. I think that's a powerful combination. Proximity to California. Proximity to, ski resorts, ocean. It's an easy place to live.
And pricing-wise, where do they all kind of shake out in terms of lease rates?
I think a lot of things, they're all very close now. Phoenix might be a little cheaper. Denver might be a little more in some cases, a little less. But I think after COVID, things just sort of equalized everywhere. Cap rates kind of equalized too. Used to buy, if you were paying a 6 cap in California, you'd pay a 7 cap. In Nevada, you'd pay a 9 cap in Phoenix when I first got into business. And now it's all just pretty much level. So I don't think, I don't see that changing. And there's a lot of liquidity in real estate now too. It's a lot more stable than it was in 2009. It's different ownership. Yeah, big difference. The way they're financed and just different things. But I think overall, 25 will be a good year for us, but we're not selling anything either. So if you have to sell, I think that's where the uncertainty comes.
Okay.
So there's 2 prongs, right? Okay, so what keeps me up at night is really, we've been doing this deep research on, housing affordability. You said it's been an issue for a long time. It's continuing to be an issue, and I think it's getting worse and worse. I really do think there needs to be some workforce housing program that's established, in some way.
Why is it though, 30 years later, we can't get a
I don't know, and it's really I just need help building more market rate apartments. Like, give me a little tax subsidy.
But it's not just here, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and so just like figure out a program to help more apartments get built. Like, I love homes.
Yeah.
I own a home. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but we need more apartments for how many people we
Yeah.
have. So that's what keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
And for all of you guys here, the tagline is market rate apartments are workforce housing. The rents are 80 to 120% AMI. There's very few. There's like the 2 top market apartments that are 140% AMI. But like, if you're talking to politicians and they want workforce housing, market rate apartments are workforce housing.
And
Full stop.
especially in a resort heavy.
Yeah. And so when you look at the
Employment-based.
demographics of Las Vegas, 80% of our people fit into that workforce category or below. So we need LIHTC, which is 60% and below, and we need something that addresses the 80 to 120. That's the entire city. So we have the Summit, that's great. We have the Ridges, that's great, but like, we don't have options for like the real people who make the city run. So that's
Why
what keeps
wouldn't the city just, or the county or the city of North, or any of these places,
They
just
are there.
activate their city-owned land?
So they are, and we're working with them. That's why we're building 1,000 units. We've gotten a lot of soft funds from Clark County, the state. I want to give like the cities and the jurisdictions their credit. They're working on it.
Yeah.
But I can only build 1,000 units, right? Like, and I'm kicking ass to build 1,000 units.
Yeah.
So we need such a large volume, and it's not just the LIHTC. We need 80 to 120% too. And so that leads into, in 2025, we will build no market rate apartments. I don't know who else will build market rate apartments.
I've seen a lot of municipalities take market rate and force you to add 15, 20, 30 units.
All that does without the right incentive structure is raise rents on the market rate rents.
Yeah,
And
makes
so
sense.
if the right incentive is there with soft dollars, with parking ratios, with extra units, with extra height, like, we can make that work.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it's like, well, okay, add 20% affordable. Okay, well then the rents on the others are gonna have to take that. It's just math, right?
Yeah.
But in 25, we will build 2 to 3 affordable housing communities, and really we'll be teeing up, like I said, we're going through this transition at Ovation, building a real company with real people. And what we're really gonna be doing is teeing ourselves up to build this big pipeline of market rate as it starts to fall in line. 26, we're planning to build a lot of market rate. We have a lot of land, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And so as soon as things kind of start to get there, we're ready to activate.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we'll revisit that conversation in 26 and see.
Yeah, let's
check
check
in how
in.
things are going. Yeah, exactly. And I'm eyeing Dan, and I know there's some good questions back there, but Stan, I want to give you an opportunity to answer this.
No, mine's pretty simple.
Okay.
I don't, I sleep a little better than you guys, but the only thing that keeps me up is my 2 dogs, and that's about it. But, it takes a lot to really keep me up at night because, as Jeff said, we went through the recession, and I don't think I slept for 2 years. And now there really aren't a whole lot of problems that I can think of at 2 o'clock in the morning that will keep me up for the rest of the evening because, I've dealt with them all before, no matter what the problem is, and I know it's not going to go away when I wake up in 2 more hours or whatever the case might be. So, it's just a matter of focus and, knowing that the problems aren't going to go away in the morning, whatever they might be. But, right now things are pretty good. So I have a tendency to sleep a little bit better than I have in the past.
Great. Thank you, Stan. Thank you all. Dan, where are you at?
Megan, how are you? Thank you very much. You had a data center question on your list, and I got a couple from the audience if you want to ask that.
Yeah, you can go ahead and ask the audience question.
How are you leveraging the growth of digital infrastructure and data centers as the key opportunity for Southern Nevada? Whether you're building them or not, you 3 are in the game. How do you see that for our market?
I think data centers are hot everywhere, as evidenced by every single Wall Street fund is backing them with unlimited capital, and that's usually what happens when things get hot. But they're constrained not just by money, which is usually what happens on other real estate, they're constrained by power availability. So I think,
And water. They
And
use
water,
a ton
yeah.
of water. That's the dirty secret.
yeah, and I think we've looked at a couple sites, but we haven't pursued them just because the path to understanding is long and expensive, and there's not too many landowners that'll stand still for that.
I think it's good
That's my
economics, but there's no workers. So for me, as a multifamily, it's not that accretive to adding like workforce to the state. So I'm not against it by any means, but I'm not that involved in those.
We took quite a while ago, took one shot at a data center in East Las Vegas, and Rob Roy quickly nixed that deal with the county. So, we pretty much figured that wasn't our bailiwick. Plus, everybody, the people that are involved in that industry right now really know what they're doing. And as Jeff said, the learning curve to get from here to up here takes years. And I've got,
It's like jumping into like LIHTC overnight. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
something you do overnight.
No,
Yeah.
it's impossible. I mean, it's tough enough to deal with what our core business is without having to switch gears and think we can understand something in 1 year to be able to build and waste somebody's money. But my thought on it.
I don't know if that answered the question, but
If the data centers bring more tech companies, if we see this shift and there's Sony studios, all that stuff, I think that's positive. But I don't know that they're correlated. I think the data center could be anywhere. So that's it.
How do you believe that fires in Southern California are going to affect our market, even going into residential?
Our insurance rates went up 40% this year before even the fires happened. That's dramatic for the consumer, really. We have to pass that on. I
the
don't.
good news is there's nothing to burn here. There's no trees to burn.
Yeah, but buildings can burn. We had 2 big fires, and so when I'm buying, building insurance,
Yeah.
they're looking at that. People can drown and stuff, and so when I'm buying property management insurance, they're looking at that, and so
But it's not like Florida or.
it's not like Florida and stuff. But so I think Las Vegas will be a haven in some ways. I think it's affecting our market. If they can't make money in California and Florida, they're going to start trying to shift. It's just math again. I was talking to an insurance buddy of mine. It's just all math. I do think some people will move to Vegas from LA. I don't think it will be the rich people's houses who burn down. They will find another expensive house in LA. I think that will price out maybe some people from LA that will move to Vegas. So I think there will be some shift, but I don't think it's what everyone's thinking is like, oh, their house burned down, they're going to move to Vegas. I think that those people are quite wealthy. They're going to get $1 million checks, multi-million-dollar checks from the insurance and go buy another house. But that's going to cause downward pressure within LA to where lots of people's rents are going to go up. You can't find a house to rent, and that will cause the person who's just not making it in LA to be like, what am I doing here, and come to Vegas, I think.
I agree. I think Southern California has been a major driver of Las Vegas since I moved here 35 years ago. But it's also driving Arizona, it's driving Texas, it's driving, Boise, Idaho, it's driving Colorado. So I'm sure there'll be some push. Hard to say right now, it's so early because I think people are still in shock. I know 3 people that lost their house, and they're all just in shock. They're not making any plans. It's going to be months and months before they even know what their insurance recovery is.
I think that's the issue too, is like, okay, if you had a $20 million house in Malibu that was insured for 10, and now it's going to cost you 30 to rebuild it, do you rebuild it, or do you buy a house in the Summit and not pay taxes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good ad. That's a good advertisement.
Yeah, we should. I'm sure this is recorded.
We've had an influx in the last 4 years from California, and I don't think the fire is going to cause any dramatic change. I think what has caused any change whatsoever, and the people that are moving to the cities that were just mentioned, has nothing to do with the fires. It has more to do with the government and the taxes that people have to pay there. And they're starting to figure out that, they move here, they gain 16% their income. And, you know, I mean, I don't know how many structures, how many houses burned recently?
30 or 40,000, I think. I don't have the exact
Yeah,
stat.
so I mean, you know, between, you know, as you said, Idaho and Phoenix area, Las Vegas, Austin, Texas, I mean, we'll see some of it, but I don't think it's going to be a dramatic influx of people going up and buying houses in the ridges. But, you know, some will.
I think it'll be more apartment people. I think it will be
I
that downward
agree with
pressure
you.
where the people who are struggling in LA, now rents are higher, and it
Yeah.
will be, hey, I can't make it in LA. I'm going to move to Vegas.
Well,
Especially with the Sony studio. I can still do my job
Yeah.
in Vegas, right? I
Well,
can
and a
still,
lot of people think that all the houses that burned are $20 million houses, and probably 70% of the houses that did burn are your average people, middle to upper income, not severely upper, but.
but they probably bought the house
for
cheap.
nothing.
Their,
Or it was
their
passed
insurance
down.
policy probably isn't for very much.
Well, a lot of them were dropped too.
And
by
like, and then to
farmers or
rebuild their
whatever.
house in that location, they got to be pretty rich.
Yes.
So,
Which
Yeah.
means they're not going to build, so it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see how the government handles the predators
Right.
that are going to come in. I'm not talking about Malibu because the lots are still going to be expensive, but in the outer lying
Altadena,
areas,
yeah.
they're going to put a stop like they did in Maui, in Lahaina, where you can't transfer title for a period of time until things settle down, so that certain
because
people
even that's a
don't go
good
in.
parallel. Like I went to Maui this year. I drove through Lahaina. Nothing's being rebuilt yet, and I think it's a cost function of like, okay, this is the most expensive place in the U.S. to build. This
Yeah.
is the most expensive land, and like your insurance policy for the house you had was like maybe gave you $500,000. So what are you gonna do?
Well, and you're right. I mean, we were in Lahaina 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And they've cleared
They've
out all
cleaned
the
it. It's
garbage.
cleaned.
It's
Yeah.
cleaned.
But
and
that's it.
it. So you don't see anything. There's temporary housing on the outskirts, little boxables, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
But for the most
basically.
part, people don't know what to do as of yet.
And that was how long ago? Over
It's been, what, 2 years?
2
or-
years.
Yeah.
So it's a long process.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, 400 people. Thanks, Guy Martin. Mike in his office credits this attendance to like new gym membership in January. So thank you. We did a lot of politics in commercial real estate this month. Next month's going to be religion in commercial real estate.
Don't invite me to that one.
We want to thank our panelists for an excellent program today. We'd like to thank Martin Harris Construction for sponsoring today's breakfast program. We will be back here at the Orleans on our normal meeting date, the third Thursday, February 20th. We hope to see the similar sized crowd then, 400 of us. Thank you, everyone.